homework for tonight first, just so you guys know how to do it. These are 45, 45, 90 triangles, okay? And you might want to just put this right at the top of your worksheet. There's just a rule about 45, 45, 90 triangles that if both of these sides are the same, because it's isosceles, because you have 45, 45. Please write this down and actually pay attention and not play on your phone right now. Please. Okay. All right. And so the hypotenuse will be x square root 2 is big. And I can just show you real quick. It's just using Pythagorean theorem is the reason it is. We go x squared plus x squared equals something we don't know squared. X squared plus x squared is 2x squared. And if you want to get it by itself, you divide by 2. So you get 1/2. And then you take the square root of it. And it ends up being x square root 2 is your answer. Okay? So it's just Pythagorean theorem, but instead of doing the long way all the time, don't worry about this. Just know this formula. Okay? No, I did not. Okay. So we just are going to use this formula. All right. So now let's look at number 2. We know this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Okay? This has 45, this 90. The interior angles of a triangle always add up to 180. So the other one has to be 45. Okay? If this side is 6, y over here is also 6. And the hypotenuse will be 6 square root 2. That's it. All I did was put that square root 2 with it. Okay? So we're going to go backwards. We're going to look at number 1, and then you guys will do the rest on your own. If the hypotenuse is 2 square root 2, what are both of the sides going to be? There you go. That's it. That's this whole thing. Okay. Now we're going to do the classwork for today. Any questions about this homework before I move on? Okay. So, the classwork. We're going to start with, you need to make sure you have this packet in front of you. You have a protractor, and you have scissors. I have everything up here if you need it. Protractor, scissors. All right. So this first page that we have right here in the front, that's the instructions. We're going to need to separate all 3 of these pages. Okay? You're going to take, I'm in the middle of teaching. You're going to take this unit circle right here. You're going to take one of them and you're going to set it to the side. And we're going to pay attention to this unit circle right here. If you get lost, literally the instructions for how to do it are written right here. Okay? So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look in the first quadrant. If we look at a unit circle, it's broken up into like a graph where this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. We're going to look in quadrant 1, and we're going to make a 45-degree angle. So a lot of you probably don't remember how to use a protractor. So let's pay careful attention. We're going to take, so your protractor either has a little hole in it, has like a little hash mark, whatever. You're going to make sure that's right in the middle where those 2 lines intersect. And you don't want it to be like this. You want it to line up just perfectly. Okay? All right. And then we're going to make a mark right at 45 degrees. That's 40 degrees. This is 45 degrees. We're going to use the ones on the bottom. Okay? Because when we're looking at making an angle to this side, we use the ones on the bottom. Okay? So I want to make sure everybody's here before I move on. Shh. Okay. Now I'm going to make a line from this origin through that point I made all the way through my circle. You want it to go through the circle. See how I made that line there? I made that mark there at 45, and then I drew that line straight from the origin to there. You can always turn your circle upside down or erase, whichever. Okay. All right. Then you turn it upside down if you messed it up. All right. Now I'm going to make sure I go straight up and down. See this mark right here? I want to make a line that goes straight up and down. So I am going to line up my 90 degrees with that x-axis, making sure it's nice and perfect. And I'm going to draw my line straight down. Okay? So this is a, please don't talk anymore while I'm talking. This really will not take that long if we're quiet. Shh. So this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle that we've created. Okay, so this is a unit circle, meaning the radius, if you look right here, it's a radius of 1. Okay? Radius is from the center of the circle to anywhere on the edge. So do we agree that this length right here that I drew is 1? Is a unit of 1. Put it on the inside. Make sure you write that in the inside of your triangle. All of the stuff that I'm writing down, I want you to write down. Chris, you can go to Ms. Huff's room to take your test. Okay? All right. So now this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So we kind of have to think of this backwards. Okay? We knew that 45, 45, 90 triangles is both sides are x, then this is x square root 2 is big. Okay? So if 1 equals x square root 2, I want to discover what x is. I don't know why this is so dark. Okay. Sorry that it's dark, guys. I'm not sure why. Okay. So we're going to divide both sides by the square root of 2. And we get 1 over square root 2 equals x, but I can't have a square root 2 on the bottom. So I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by square root 2. This gives me square root 2 over 2 times 2 is what, guys? What's the square root of 4? 2. So each of these sides are square root 2 over 2 is big. Okay, make sure all of that stuff is in the inside of your triangle, and then we're going to cut it out. So please make sure it's in the inside of your triangle, because then we are going to cut it out. Okay? No, I have hand sanitizer and Kleenex. Okay, so I'm cutting mine out now. Ugh. Don't cut your whole circle up, just cut the triangle out because we're going to need this circle for later. So you should have like a hole in there where you've cut out your 45, 45, 90 triangle. I cut a line down and then cut it out.
Can I get 100?
Excuse me? Did you just drop trash on me? Did that really just happen?
How did you do it?
I cut a line. Cut and then cut it out. Okay, once you have it cut out, you want to turn it over. You have that blank side. You want to copy everything that's on one side onto the other. So you want to copy everything on both sides.
no.
Copy what we put on this up front and back.
Mm-hmm.
Cover 3/2.
All right, guys. Once you've got this, you're going to need your other unit circle. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody should have this cut out. You should have it written on both sides. Now we're going to take our 45 degrees and we're going to put it right here for the unit circle. Shh. And we are going to trace this down on our unit circle. Okay? This is 45 degrees. Can you turn off your phone, please, Robert? Thanks, that would be great. Okay. So what we're trying to figure out is if we started at 0, 0, how would I get to this point right here? I have to go right or left, up or down. But look at my triangle. It tells me I'm going to go square root 2 over 2 over and square root 2 over 2 up. You guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about right here. This is 0 degrees, this down here. This is 0 degrees. I went over 1 up 0. This is 45 degrees. I went over square root 2 up square root 2. What do you think 90 would be? This is 90 right here. How would I get to that point? Would I go right or left anything?
Right.
Am I going to the right anything?
Or left.
Or left anything?
You flip it.
I want to go here. I'm right here. Am I going to go to right or the left anything? No, you're going to go 0. Okay. And then how much am I going to go up?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I went over 1 to get here. This is also a radius, so I went up 1. Okay? All right, now I'm going to flip my triangle over. And I'm doing this angle right here. I'm going to trace this right here. Okay, so this isn't 90 degrees or 45 degrees anymore. Shh. This is 90 plus 45, so it's 135 degrees. Right? Because I'm going all the way from here. I went, Robert, turn it off. Turn the notification off so it stops dinging like that. So I went up 45, up 90, I went up 135. Okay? So, okay. So, I went, pay attention please. I went to the left square root 2 over 2, so that's negative square root 2 over 2. But I still went up square root 2 over 2. You should be copying this down. All right. Now I'm going to reflect it over the x-axis. And I'm going to trace this here. Okay. This is 180 degrees right here, right? Because I went a full half circle. So if I go 180 degrees plus 45 more, I'm at 225. Okay, now let's think about this. Did I go right or left square root 2 over 2? I went left, so that's negative. And then I went down, so that's negative. Negative square root 2 over 2. You guys see that? No. Where 180, I went over negative 1, up 0. That's for 180. Okay, we're gonna do one more today, and then I'll let you guys work on your homework instead of doing the next part. Okay. So I'm reflecting this across the y-axis, and I'm tracing this one. Okay? 225 plus 45 gives me 270. Okay, that's 270 degrees. And this is 0, -1. Where this is 270 plus 45 degrees. Please stop talking. It's really not that hard. You just close your mouth and no noise comes out. This is 315 degrees. And we go over square root 2 over 2, down square root 2 over 2.
I'm losing.
Okay? So these are all up on the board. Okay? When you're done with this, you can start your homework. I need you to keep the following things because we're going to use it and finish it up tomorrow. I need you to keep this unit circle,
Are you gonna point to that?
and I need you to keep this one because we're going to cut something else out of it tomorrow, okay? So I want you to keep those two things. When we're all finished, you will get points for this. Okay? Anybody have any questions about that?